The Houston Roughnecks defeat the Michigan Panthers right before the Panthers head into the USFL Conference Championship game next week against the Birmingham Stallions. As I was saying yesterday in my preview and pick'ems for this game, I felt that with Rocky Lombardi and potentially Danny Edeling playing and Michigan really kind of sitting their starters, that we would see a completely different team for them. And with Houston trying to go 5-5 on the season, that really led to the Houston Roughnecks getting that advantage with all their starters playing, Jalen McClendon continuing his role. And again, Houston Roughnecks walk away with the win. They have gone 4-2 in their last 6 games, and I will tell you, I'm curious to know what would have happened if CJ Johnson had started out with Jalen McClendon to start the season. Would they be in the playoffs either in Birmingham's spot or the Panthers spot heading into the USFL Conference Championship game? No one will know at this point, but it is a very interesting theory to think of. So let's go ahead and dive right on into this full game recap for the Houston Roughnecks and the Michigan Panthers in Week 10, the final week of the 2025 UFL regular season. Houston starts off their drive on their own 22-yard line, and Jalen and company get right to work with a quick short pass to Hall for 2 yards. On second, Chisholm caught a nice pass to the right and gained 8 for the first down. On first down, Lingard rushed for 11 yards and another first down. Lingard gets the ball again and rushes up the middle for a quick 2 yards. On 2nd and 8, McClendon steps back and throws a short pass to the left to Chisholm, who gains 10 yards and another first down, now at the Michigan 45 as they have crossed the middle of the field. The Panthers defense do a pretty good job on the next 3 plays, along with a illegal substitution penalty on Houston, ends up bringing them to 3rd and 12, which is a long stretch at that point, a very long third down. But McClendon gets a quick pass off to the left to Chisholm again, and he gains 18 yards and gets down to the Michigan 15. After another quick pass to Spivey, I believe is how you pronounce it, for 14 yards, he is tackled at the 1-yard line for a first and goal. On the very next play, Lingard gets tackled for no gain, and that sets up 2nd and goal. This time around, Lingard rushes in 1 yard and for the touchdown to put 6 on the board. Houston elects to go for 1 point, and McClendon has to run out to his right of the pocket and somehow gets the pass into the end zone just right by the Panthers' helmet, one of the players' helmets, to the end zone to Justin Hall for the 1-point conversion being good. This drive went 12 plays for 78 yards and 6 minutes and 59 seconds off the clock for 7 points for the Roughnecks. The Panthers received the ball at the Houston 30 and right away gets off to a start, running the ball up the middle for a gain of 8 yards to start the Panthers' first drive of the game at their own 38-yard line. Rocky Lombardi will get the first start of the season and first time playing, being the third-string quarterback for his team. On first, Lombardi throws a quick pass to Moore for 6 yards. On second, Colburn gets a handoff, but doesn't go anywhere, and there is a penalty on the play for illegal motion. And this brings the ball back 5 yards. They replay 2nd down. On 2nd and 9, Colburn rushes up the middle to gain those 5 yards back, and it is now 3rd and 4. Lombardi passes a short pass to the right, complete to Colburn for 6 yards and a first down. Colburn at this point back on the ground and gets a couple yards, but another penalty is thrown with a face mask from the Panthers on Houston's Roby, costing them 15 yards. This will back them up to the Houston 35. After a couple plays that got them down to the Houston 5-yard line in the red zone, setting up 1st and goal, a bad snap causes a fumble that goes behind Lombardi, who chases after it. It gets kicked in the process and continues to go down the field, and that's when Houston pounces on the ball and gets it recovered by Houston at their own 34-yard line. with Houston coming up with a huge turnover. The drive ended up going 9 plays for 28 yards and 6 minutes and 25 seconds off the clock. I'm telling you right now, this is a huge problem for the Panthers in this game, is turnovers that really shot themselves in the foot. Roughnecks start their second drive off with McClendon getting sacked and losing 4 yards on 2nd and 14, an incomplete pass to Sutton. And then on 3rd and 15, McClendon steps back to pass, and it is incomplete, intended for Grayson. There was, though, a penalty on Michigan for pass interference, drawing it a first down. But we got some pretty bad news as Jalen McClendon at that point went down with an ankle injury and needs assistance getting off the field. There wasn't anything noticeable that caused this injury when they showed the replay a few times. Anthony Brown Jr. will now come in to play for Houston, who was a quarterback for Oregon and has NFL experience. And that will lead us to the second quarter as the clock gets to zeros on the clock. As we come back from commercial break and into the second quarter, we do see that McClendon is back on the field and is playing. During the break, they did tape up his right ankle. Lingard gets the handoff for a gain of 4 yards, and on second down, Merritt gets the handoff but gets tackled right away at the line for a gain of 1. McClendon goes back to the air on 3rd and 5 to Merritt, but it is incomplete, and the Panthers defense forces a punt. Drive went 5 plays for 13 yards and 3 minutes and 2 seconds off the clock. Panthers then get the ball back on their own 25-yard line as it was a touchback with the punt. Lombardi hands off the ball to McCrary and picks up 3 yards on the play. On 2nd and 7, Lombardi steps back in the pocket and throws a quick pass to McCrary, who gains 7 yards and the first down. On 1st and 10, McCrary gets the handoff again and rushes up for another 10 yards and another first down. They're on the move at this point. Lombardi takes a massive shot up the middle on first down, and it is incomplete pass to Moore. On 2nd and 10, Lombardi throws a quick pass to Colburn and gains 5 yards to set up 3rd and 5, which is a big third down for the Panthers, and Lombardi gets through the middle of coverage and rushes in for a touchdown. 50-yard touchdown run from Lombardi, but hold on a second, there is a flag on the play. And it is actually on Houston with hands to the face and is declined, and that will secure that touchdown for the Panthers. But wait a second, we're not done, because CJ Johnson comes on the field, throws that challenge flag, and is saying there was no hands to the face and that his player was punched in the face during it by number 4 in a personal foul. He ends up winning the challenge, which is a little weird of how he challenged it, but they kind of like talked him to him about making sure what he was challenging and everything, as whatever the case may be. He ended up winning because there was an actual penalty that offset it with basically the other player putting hands in the face, grabbing a face mask or whatnot. This would offset the penalties and end up bringing the call back to 3rd and 5 on the 49-yard line, and the fans are booing as loud as they can be in Ford Field. They are not happy. It was a great challenge by CJ that could help Houston massively, and let me tell you, it did. On 3rd and 5, Lombardi steps back and throws a pass, but it is batted down, and that will bring up Michigan to punt the ball back to Houston, which again is huge on the challenge and shows just how big super challenges are in the UFL. Drive goes 6 plays for 26 yards and 3 minutes and 26 seconds off the clock. Houston starts their drive on their own 29-yard line, and McClendon goes long with a very deep pass down the sideline intended for Chisholm, but it was overthrown. 2nd and 10 brings a quick pass to Grayson for a gain of 13, but there is another penalty on the field that was offsides by the defense. It is declined, resulting in a first down. Merritt with the handoff on first down gains 4. McClendon then hands it off again to Merritt for another gain of 3, setting up 3rd and 3. On 3rd and 3, Justin Hall gets a completion on the outside for a gain of 5 yards and another Houston first down. Hall currently leading the league in receptions with 58. With this first down, McClendon fakes the handoff and goes nowhere and loses a yard. 2nd and 11 sets up McClendon throwing into very tight window to Cam Sutton for a gain of 12 yards and another first down. McClendon steps back and on first goes for another quick pass to Lingard for a gain of 9 yards. Houston is driving down the field very well at this point on this drive, and Lingard gets a handoff and gets right to the line, so it'll be 3rd and 1, a big 3rd and 1 at this point. Houston ends up taking a timeout before the clock ran out, and 2:52 remaining in the first half. With Lingard in the backfield, they fake the handoff, and McClendon throws a quick pass to Chisholm, and before he can even turn around, the ball goes right through his hands, and it sets up 4th and short. They will go for it, and they do nearly the same play again, and it is batted down by the Panthers, not allowing the catch. Turnover on downs, play went 11 yards for 46 yards and 6 minutes and 28 seconds off the clock. Panthers at this point get the ball back on their own 25-yard line. On first down, Lombardi goes to the air and throws it right into the hands of Houston's Moody, who runs in for a pick 6 and Houston's 8th interception this season. Houston goes for 1-point conversion, and McClendon steps back and throws an incomplete pass, missing the 1-point conversion, bringing the score to 13-0 as Panthers offense comes back on the field. Drive ended up going for Houston 1 play for 8 seconds and another 6 on the board for Houston with a huge defensive pick 6 and 2 minutes and 2 seconds left in the half. Panthers get the ball back on their own 32-yard line after Martinez returns the kick off 20 yards from the Michigan 12. Lombardi gets the ball out on first down with a quick pass and a first down by Colburn gaining 11 yards. On the next play, another quick pass up the middle for 10 yards and another first down by Oaks. This continues. Another quick pass to Oaks for the first down. At this point, they end up going to incomplete pass on first down, setting up 2nd and 10 with 1 minute and 28 seconds left on the clock. But he ended up having to throw the ball outside the tackle box and was ruled not an internal grounding when he threw the pass. 3rd and 10, Lombardi steps up and takes off for the first down and more to the Houston 30-yard line, basically with a 14-yard gain. Minute and 13 seconds left. Clock is running, and the Panthers end up taking a timeout to regroup and try to get points on the board before the half, as they will receive the ball after the half as well. On 1st and 10, Lombardi goes for a pass near the end zone, but it is incomplete, intended for Mariner. 2nd and 10, same thing happens again. Quick pass to Colburn, but is dropped and incomplete. On 3rd and 10, Lombardi throws what appears to be a pick, but he dropped it when he tried to catch it on the ground. It hit the ground before being complete. This will set up a 49-yard field goal attempt, but C.J. Johnson comes out, challenging the call, saying it was an interception. It took no time for Mike Pereira to even look at this, as he already kind of looked at it prior and ruled it incomplete, as they already looked at it and the challenge was no good, and they lose a timeout and lose the ability to challenge the rest of the game. At that point, Mike Pereira was starting to talk, but Mike Nolan comes out on the field challenging the same play, that there was holding on the play during the pass on that, essentially on the defense. Mike Pereira reviews it. It is not successful, and there was no holding. Michigan then loses their challenge for the game, and they lose a timeout as well. There's no more challenges for the remainder of the game for the second half. Potter comes out now for a 49-yard field goal, and it is good. Drive went 9 plays for 37 yards and 1 minute and 9 seconds off the clock, and that officially takes us to halftime. or sorry, no, it did not take us to halftime. Sorry, Houston did get the ball back with a 34 seconds left on the clock. McClendon came out through a quick pass to Merritt for 25-yard gain up the sideline for 34 seconds on the clock. Chisholm gains 9 on another quick pass, and McClendon spikes the ball, setting up 3rd and 2. They do convert with Lingard rushing up the middle for 3 yards and get the first down, and then quickly get up and spike the ball again, setting up 2nd and 10. McClendon steps back and passes the ball to Lingard for 9 yards, and they take their last timeout with 2 seconds left, setting up Blewett for a 46-yard field goal attempt, who is 11 for 13 on the season, and Panthers call a timeout to try to ice him on this kick. Blewett gets the 43-yard field goal, and the drive went 7 plays for 45 yards and 53 seconds off the clock as we now actually head into halftime. At halftime, I took these kind of stats and kind of went over what needed to be done at halftime. Houston, Jalen McClendon, currently 14 for 22 for 151 yards with a 63.6 completion percentage with 83.7 quarterback rating. On the ground, Lingard has 7 rushing attempts for 21 yards and a touchdown, and Merritt has 3 attempts for 8 yards. Honestly, this game belongs to McClendon and his arm with the receiving core, where Chisholm is 4 completions for 44 yards, Merritt 1 completion for 25 yards, Hall 3 completions for 22 yards, and then Lingard with 3 completions for 21 yards, and then Spivey, Sutton, and Grayson all coming away with 12 to 14-yard completions each. Houston's offense has Houston's defense has a pick 6 by Marvin Moody. Their defense is doing okay through this game with 19 total tackles, but none of them for a loss. This will be a huge thing that the defense will need to do in the second half. Well, they've been good at breaking up passes and really staying strong on defense, only allowing 3 points from the Panthers with the field goal near the end of the second quarter. They will need to continue on this and maybe get into Lombardi's face and cause some sacks to really put pressure on the Panthers offense and stay strong to get the win. As for Houston's offense, the remainder of the game, they will just need to continue really what they've been doing, which are some impressive drives here and there, and maybe get their run game up a bit. This could help them in the long run, but again, McClendon is looking sharp overall. I do question the right ankle injury suffered in the first half and what that could do for the remaining of the game, when honestly it didn't seem like it affected him much after he came back in with the actual the timeout that was taken. As for the Panthers, a completely different story, as it's one I mentioned when picking the Roughnecks to win this game yesterday, as I saw it could be some flaws with Lombardi starting his very first game, and as far as I know, it was his very first action of the year as well. He's got the first action of the game he's got all year out of an offense that is used to either Danny Edling or Bryce Perkins. Speaking of Rocky Lombardi, he is currently 8 for 18 for 61 yards and 1 interception with a completion percentage of 44.4% and a 20.1 quarterback rating. Their rushing hasn't been bad, but it isn't much at all. Lombardi has used his legs for 3 rushes for 30 yards, McCrary 2 for 14, and Colburn 1 for 5. Again, they have some key moments, but they have shot themselves in the foot with penalties, turnovers, and bad snaps causing fumbles. They will need to fix basically much of this heading into the second quarter to even have a shot at this game. Colburn, Oakes, and Weidemeyer, or I believe it's Weidemeyer, are the only 3 receivers that have done anything, but again, it's not even close to being enough to get points on the board. They have only been in the red zone once this entire game, and that's when they had the bad snap causing the turnover with a fumble. With the Panthers defense, they only have 33 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 tackles for a loss. Again, not much happening on that side. They'll need to also step up this to stop the Houston Roughnecks and Jalen in the second half of this game. They'll need to turn over the ball essentially to get the momentum changed. When we head into the second half stats with a we head into the second half, and it starts off with a great gain by the Panthers, gaining 51 yards, and will start on Houston's 42-yard line. Lombardi hands the ball off to McCrary for a gain of 6 to start the second half, and on second down, McCrary gets outside the defender, or from the defender, and gets a first down with a gain of 7. They are now inching closer to the red zone as they continue on the ground, with McCrary gaining another 7. On 2nd and 3, another handoff to McCrary gets the first down with an 8-yard pickup, and they are now in the red zone for the second time this game. Lombardi takes off running and gets close to a first down, but again, shooting themselves in the foot with a hold that brings the ball back, and they are right back out of the red zone for 1st and 20. But on the very next play, Colburn gets through the middle and rushes in for a touchdown for 23 yards. Panthers will go for a 1-point conversion and hand off to Colburn again, but he does not make it and comes up short. That will bring the score to 16-9. Houston 16-9. Houston with the lead as they will get the ball back for the first time in the second half. This drive went 5 plays for 42 yards and 3 minutes and 28 seconds off clock, and is exactly what I was mentioning during the halftime point of this, is that they would either have to take advantage of getting the ball in the second half to get a touchdown or something going for this team, and they do. But that didn't really help them, because Houston gets the ball back on the Michigan's 49, and on 2nd and 5, McClendon passes a deep pass to the right to Butler for 41 yards, and they are already at the Panthers' 3-yard line in the red zone on 1st and goal. Panthers defense, though, comes up strong on the following 3 plays and forced the Roughnecks to kick a 20-yard field goal that is good and brings the score 19-9. Drive went 6 plays for 47 yards and 3 minutes and 35 seconds used off the clock. At this point, Danny Edeling comes into the game, and they go 3 and out really quick, but go for it on 4th and 1 and end up not getting the first down and turn over the ball on downs in a drive that only went 4 plays, 8 yards, 1 minute and 51 seconds used off the clock. Houston gets the ball back, and Lingard rushes up the middle for 4 yards. 2nd and 6, a short pass to complete to Justin Hall, but there is a penalty on the play with offensive tripping, causing a 15-yard penalty, setting up 2nd and 21. Merritt rushes up the middle for 9 yards, and on 3rd down it is incomplete, and Houston will punt the ball back to the Panthers. This drive only went 3 plays for a negative 2 yards and 2 minutes and 24 seconds used off the clock, as the Panthers defense make him go 3 and out. Panthers get the ball back with Edeling coming back out, and right off the bat, Colburn is rushes left and ended up getting tackled for a loss of 3. This would end up setting up 3rd and 13 after a quick incomplete pass on 2nd down. Edeling completed pass to Weidemer for 14 yards and the first down. Edeling scrambles right for 3 yards on 1st down, and then on 2nd completed a quick pass to Moore for 17 yards and another first. But on 1st down, Edeling stepped back to pass and was sacked for a loss of 4 yards. During that sack, the ball came out and Houston recovered it for another fumble recovery by their defense. Play went 6 plays for 27 yards and 3 minutes and 7 seconds off the clock. Houston starts out strong. Rushes for a first down, or rushes on 1st down for 2 yards at the Michigan 31, and that is the end of the 3rd quarter. Currently sitting at 19-9 with Houston in the lead. On 2nd down, McClendon steps back, but the pass was incomplete for Sutton. On 3rd and 8, they get a delay of game backing up 5 yards. On 3rd and 13, McClendon passes to Chisholm, and the replay booth replayed the catch and determined it would stay incomplete, which was ruled on the field. This would bring Blewett out to punt the ball back to Michigan. The play went only 4 plays for -2 yards and 2 minutes and 15 seconds off the clock. I think I got that wrong. Blewett is their kicker, not their punter. Anyways, Panthers start there on their own 35-yard line with McCrary rushing for 6 yards, and then Edeling rushed up the middle for 5 yards for another first down. On 1st and 10, McCrary gets the handoff and rushes for another first down with a gain of 10. Edeling keeps it on first down, gain of 6. Nothing happens on 2nd down, and this brings up a big 3rd and 4 on Houston's 38-yard line. Edeling completed a pass to Malone for 24 yards and gets into the red zone at the Houston 14. 2 quick incomplete passes, and it sets up 3rd and 10 where Edeling steps back to pass and is sacked at the Houston 16 for a loss of 2. Panthers end up kicking a field goal with Potter kicking a 34-yard field goal, bringing the score within 7. This drive went 10 plays for 49 yards and 5 minutes and 41 seconds off the clock. At this point, Panthers end up... I may have missed a drive here when I was writing this. Panthers end up getting another chance on their own with McCrary making a quick gain on first, and then an 8-yard pass to him for the first down. With another first down, McCrary gets the ball back and rushes for 5 yards. On 2nd down, Edeling scrambles right for 8-yard gain. Houston's defense, though, comes up strong on the next 4 plays and make Panthers turn over the ball with an incomplete pass on 4th and 6. Drive went 8 plays for 27 yards and 3 minutes and 31 seconds left off the clock. I apologize. I must have missed at least when I copied this over, must have missed a complete down for Houston at that point. They clearly didn't do anything on it. With 2 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in the game, Houston gets the ball back on their own 25-yard line, and McClendon rushes up the middle for 3 yards, and that brings us to the 2-minute warning. Lingard then loses a yard and on 2nd and 7, but then ended up having to punt the ball back after doing nothing on 2nd or 3rd down. Panthers get the ball back on 1st down. Edeling throws another interception to Houston's Isaac, and that essentially would lead to the end of the game with Houston running out the clock and winning the game 19-12. Huge mistakes overall for the Panthers, but my overall thoughts on this game was that the Panthers played very sloppy and had a lot of self-inflicted wounds that cost them the game with a lot of turnovers. I do think most of their starters being out, and as I talked about yesterday, when I picked Houston to win this, that this would end up happening. Houston ends up finishing the season 5-5 and going 4-2 in their last 6 games in a massive improvement from where they were headed. Overall stats on this one, we start with the Roughnecks. Jalen McClendon ended up going 17 for 31 for 193 yards and 54.8 completion percentage with a 73.7 quarterback rating. Overall, I feel Jalen McClendon really was a reason for the change in course for the Roughnecks. From the moment he came in earlier this season, with injuries striking the Roughnecks, he did pretty good in this game, not turning over the ball once. When we look at the team on the ground, there wasn't much of a difference from the halftime. Lingard had 11 attempts for 30 yards and 1 touchdown. Merritt finished with 8 attempts for 16 yards. Overall, 23 attempts for 48 yards as a team, with a touchdown, longest being 11 yards. Receiving-wise, they went 17 completions for 193 yards, with the longest being 41 yards. McClendon targeted his receivers over 29 times during the game, Chisholm ended up with the most completion yards with 4 receptions for 44 yards, and then Butler in second place with 1 reception for 41 yards. Merritt, Hall, and Lingard all finished with 25, 22, and 21 total yards of completions between the 3 of them. As for the Roughnecks defense, who came up massively in this game and really were the stars of this game, they had a total of 57 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble and 2 fumble recoveries. Of course, one of those interceptions ended up being a pick 6. This is what really secured the game for Houston at the end with that interception. When we recap the lackluster offense of the Panthers had this game, we see that Rocky and Danny both played at quarterback, with Rocky going 8 for 18 for 61 yards and 1 interception with a 44.4 completion percentage and 30.1 quarterback rating. Of course, he did not play at all during the second half, and that's when Edeling came in. He went 5 for 12 for 70 yards and 1 interception with a 41.7 completion percentage and 26.4 quarterback rating. On the ground, the stars were really McCrary and Colburn by far. McCrary had 12 attempts for 68 yards, and Colburn had 4 attempts for 25 yards and a touchdown. Overall, as a team, though, when we look at receiving yards, they only had 13 completions for 131 yards and 0 touchdowns. We will talk early next week when previewing the championship games, just how much we need a change in the passing and rushing game to get through the Stallions defense next week. As for the Panthers defense, there wasn't much there either. Despite only getting 2 sacks, just like the Roughnecks did, they were not able to get any turnovers or even forced fumbles in this game. Instead, they only had a total of 52 tackles, and only 5 of them being for a loss. For the Panther fans, we can only hope next week, with all the starters in and playing, that they can make a huge difference in Birmingham to stop a team that is looking to go for their 4th consecutive championship in the past 4 years. Did you watch this game? Let me know in the comments what you thought about it. But it wraps up another game of Week 10 of the UFL 2025 season. And another team has ended their 2025 campaign. We'll be talking full recaps after the season about the ups and downs of each team and how potentially going into 2026, how teams could change up everything. I will say this right off the bat. A lot of people are wanting Houston because of attendance to move on to another city. I truly, depending on what happens with Jalen McClendon, if he somehow gets a shot in the NFL, he most likely could, especially with what he did with Houston. I truly think with going 5-5 and kind of turning over the season of what it was looking like, you heard a lot of less people saying that CJ Johnson needed to go. That was the talk at the beginning of the first couple weeks of the season. I really think that, quite frankly, we'll talk about it more as time goes on, but I would love to see CJ Johnson back next year with Houston, and if they can keep a lot of the same players and they actually run with Jalen McClendon in 2026, this could be an unstoppable team in the USFL conference, or potentially XFL conference, if they ended up moving them with the expansion, how those things would work depending on what teams and what divisions they're in. Could be very interesting. Again, let me know in the comments what you think, and we'll see you on the flip side for tomorrow's games. Thank you very much. Have a great one, everyone.